Today we are learning about the Faith and Freedom Foundation, and joining me to talk more about the organization is the organization's founders, Ray and Joan Grabanski. Ray and Joan, thanks so much for joining me for the conversation today. I appreciate it. It's nice to have you with me.
Pleasure.
Joan, let's start with you. Let's talk about the Faith and Freedom Foundation and just share with us how that was started and why you two started the organization.
Well, there's a couple different reasons. One is we were looking for opportunities to provide, grants and donations to organizations. But so many times we were rushed at the end of the year to we got to figure out where to put these donations. And we wanted it to be so it could be distributed throughout the year so that we didn't always have to make a rash decision by the end of the year. So we established this so that we could put funds into this foundation, and then we could evaluate and look at different places of where we felt that really promoted the values that we were looking for, really promoting faith and freedom. And it's been wonderful. We're able to put a sum of money in there, and it's an opportunity for us to give and get a tax deduction, but also help a lot of different people. So it's been wonderful.
Thank you for that. Ray, your thoughts on launching the organization?
Well, we obviously, if you're in business, you have any success, you send a lot of money to federal and state governments, and a lot of times you think about, what exactly did we get for that? Mm-hmm. And one benefit you have when you create a foundation is you can provide the benefits that you want. When you see a need in your community or a need in your state or anywhere, you can provide a way to meet that need. In contrast to all the money we've sent to the federal or state government, I don't know if they've ever solved a problem. And so I think that locally is where problems are solved, and by people who see a problem, mm-hmm. recognize it, have some ideas on how to solve it. Mm-hmm. Not just talk about it, but solve it.
Joan, there's lots of causes out there that you could get behind, lots of values. Why faith and freedom?
That has been a part of our lives forever. Faith is very, very important to Ray and I, and our relationship was built on that, our marriage, and we've been involved in our local church and local faith-based organizations, and we just feel very strongly we're led and guided by God. God's blessed us with all of the resources and the success that we've had, and we want to further his kingdom. And so that's why we chose faith. And the freedom was, freedom to be able to believe in Jesus Christ and not be crucified for it.
More apologetic.
Right. That we can be open and we can have that freedom to be free in Jesus, but then to have freedoms in our country. I mean, we live in a country that we have been blessed because of the people who've served in our armed forces and defended our country. And so we need to protect that. We must keep that so that we have that for our future generations. And so that's why faith and freedom. And incidentally, Ray and I are not the only founders of it. Our children, Bryce and Shelby, we involved them as well. And we did it for a couple of reasons. One is we wanted their input. We wanted them to become faithfully giving to help others and to promote these. And they have become very attentive on organizations that meet what our criteria is for funding and provide, we decide as a group where funds will go. And we've found some very unique things in our interactions with some of our business people that we've come across, and we've been able to fund some projects there as well. So that's why we chose Faith and Freedom. It's very near and dear to us, both of those.
Yeah. Ray, if you would talk about maybe some of the groups and organizations that the Faith and Freedom Foundation has supported, is supporting, and maybe why.
Sure. And maybe I'll go back to the question you just asked, Joan, why Faith and Freedom? Those were the principles which made our country great, better than any other country in the world to live. Everyone wants to come here. Why? Because the faith and the freedom together is a combination that cannot be beaten. And because of that, those are the only two things that we really need to be a successful country, city, community, or family even. Those are the two things that make a quality of life. So that's obviously very important. So some of the organizations that contributed, of course, Capstone. Capstone is one of our principal donors in the past, although we have some other things that are important to us. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No worries. Yeah, hey, you're in business. It's
Shut
okay.
this off.
We have one of them that we came across because of some of our business relationships was a Father's Farm up in northern rural North Dakota, where they provide residence for men who have just not had very good luck in their life.
The jail ministry.
Yes.
So he's actually in their local county community up near Rugby.
Area. Yep. And so they actually provide housing, work projects, and basically help them develop good habits and develop good relationships and be around faithful people. And then they become faithful themselves. So that's one that we're just recently have funded. We've done
different churches.
Yeah, churches, some
church plants.
Pregnancy center, health resources in Minnesota.
And a soccer tournament.
We did a soccer tournament in North Dakota here. We do a Christian camp that's in South Dakota. We've supported them and their staff there so that they can be spelling the gospel. Yep, we did a seminary in South Dakota.
We do an online seminary, which is interesting. It's a unique development, a very efficient way to deliver service and education.
Some mission, we're going to support a missionary to India. And so it's
USA Faith.
Yep, that's another one, where they've, there's a long list.
I think Hillsdale College as well.
That's another one.
Because they promote those same principles, faith and freedom. And it really isn't, tied to any specific politics. It's just promoting development of faith and freedom. Freedom from bureaucracy, government overreach, and freedom to make our own decisions. Freedom to do more than just vote, but to vote every day with the dollars that, that we're endowed with, the benefits, that we get, our wages. We should have freedom to decide where our resources go.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. And as an official representative of Capstone Classical Academy, serving as Director of Advancement for the school, we're certainly grateful for the support and the partnership that you guys have provided to us and partnering with us and supporting our mission, which I believe is firmly aimed at establishing the Lord's kingdom and providing a very good education to our kids. So thanks to both of you for that incredibly kind partnership. We're very, very grateful for that.
We really believe in education, and the classical Christian education is very important. And we want to give those students that are need-based, that don't have the opportunity financially to be a part of this school, we don't want anyone to not have the choice to have a classical Christian education if they so choose. If they have that passion, we want to be able to do that, to provide that.
Right. What would you say to other people who might be philanthropically minded in terms of encouraging them or inspiring them to maybe support Capstone or other similar groups and organizations?
Well, certainly, what you've developed here at Capstone is almost, the exact image of what the success is of local donations and benefits. And, you've done a fantastic job building something
Praise God.
that Fargo really, really desperately needed.
And
So kudos to you, obviously, from the product that you have here. It's obvious that was very much needed. So that's a perfect example of what we would want to support. And I can't think of a better example, actually, how you went about the process. Paul did a tremendous job.
Paul Fisher, of course,
Yes.
our headmaster here at Capstone, Ray is referring to here. So,
and all of the rest of the staff. Excellent.
Yeah. Well, thank you. We're super grateful for that. Obviously, you guys are people of faith. You clearly are kingdom-minded. Talk about your faith journey a little bit, if you would. I know we could probably talk for hours about that, but just maybe a couple thoughts that you might share with our viewers and listeners today when it comes to your own faith perspective and how that informs your lifestyle.
That's a tough question there, Tom. I guess I think back, I've always had faith around me, but you always remember the time when you first made that commitment to Jesus. And I just come home from a Christian Bible camp, and I'm a farm girl, so I was doing chores, and I looked out into the rising sun, and I just said, Lord, I want you to be a part of my life, and I am committed to you. And so that's been implanted in my mind. And there have been many times throughout my life where we all have struggles and challenges. And I remember looking to the sky and looking to the Lord and saying that same thing, Lord, you need to walk with me, and He has walked with me. And my greatest treasure that I prayed for was that my children would have that same hunger and faith that I had. And they do. They do. And they had to find it on their own. I couldn't do it for them.
Yeah.
That's probably the hardest thing as a parent. You can't make that decision for them except Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But they do, their spouses are, and we're so grateful that they're following that. So I think when you have a head of a household that is faith-based, as together we are believers, it spreads to the entire family.
Yeah.
And so that's just a little bit about the journey.
It's wonderful. Ray?
So actually, I was going to say, the faith is something we could celebrate, certainly, but it's not something that we come about because we're great pillars in the community or success. It's actually a realization how limited we are and how humbled we are by so many things in our lives that we aren't in control of. We actually realize how actually pathetic maybe we grow up, and we act as like pagans.
Yeah.
And so we realize we need a savior.
Yeah.
We actually are in great need of something better than what we are ourselves. That's actually how you become a Christian, I think. And that's how I did. And I think that we have to remember that. That's what helps us to accomplish better things. That's what helps us to aspire to something better, just like Capstone does in the educational community. And without that faith, that doesn't happen. And you see the result of that all over our country where we don't have it.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely necessary because we know that. We know how bad our lives would be without it.
Yeah.
So that's why people become Christians. Not because we think we're better than anyone else, because we know how limited and pathetic we are without our faith.
Yeah. Well said, Ray. We come from a place of brokenness and need, right? Yeah. And well said. And thank you for that. Appreciate hearing about your faith perspective a little bit. I want to shift the conversation a little bit and talk a little bit about your firm, Progressive Ag. If I understand correctly, you're the founder of Progressive Ag. For those in our community who aren't familiar with your company. Talk about it a little bit and tell us about it.
Well, I do have some partners that have helped me throughout my career, and I want to make sure they have credit. What Progressive Ag is, really, I was involved in agriculture as a boy, grew up on a farm, and I saw a need for the ability to manage risk. The financial commitment in agriculture just keeps getting bigger and bigger in order to be successful, and there's a lot of risk. And so I saw the need to manage that risk. And so that's what Progressive Ag was founded to do, to help commercial farmers to survive in a turbulent world financially.
Joan, you're involved as well. Talk about your role at Progressive Ag and maybe what your experience has been in the industry so far.
Sure. I've been with the company. Well, I've always been with the company because he would come home with issues and challenges. Yeah. And then I would say, well, try this. And he goes, I never thought of that. So I was kind of like, a silent partner in many ways. But that was the time where I was raising our children. And so in 2016, there came a situation where I needed to assist Ray in the company. And so I did that. It was probably the hardest thing for me to not be home with my youngest at that time, but he learned how to cook. So there was a bonus there. He had to cook for himself and, kind of take care of himself. So it's good. So I'm a manager of the crop insurance division, and I was managing some of the other, we have 3 businesses, marketing and advisory, and sales. I train people on selling, and basically I came in at that time and helped get back on track from where they were. And we've grown tremendously over that period of time and very successful. And that's why we created the foundation, and we actually have a charity as well that we created where we contribute a large percentage of our revenue to those entities so that we can help others throughout the year that are promoting the faith. Because you know what? We can't do it all, promoting faith and freedom, but when we extend into these other organizations, we're extending God's kingdom at the same time.
For sure. Ray, looks like you had a thought, maybe?
Well, it's a project. And our business, we have 3 separate businesses. One provides market advice to producers, and second business provides brokerage. So we clear futures and options trades, trying to limit the risk. And the third is a crop insurance agency. Okay. So we actually have 3 different businesses there. And it's probably the best explanation I can give. All of it is in financial risk management. We're trying to put it together in one package because a lot of times it comes from different places.
Keeps you busy and sounds like you enjoy it. Having fun.
It's a great challenge. Yeah. I was always having fun. We always say fun.
Now, do I understand correctly you're an attorney as well?
I am an attorney. Yep. In 2010, I went back to law school at the University of North Dakota and got my law degree to pass the bar. And my daughter, Shelby, is an attorney. She has an affiliate business she calls Legacy Ag. And she does estate planning. She's doing it with a lot of our customers. Successful farm customers, they have to pass on the farm. She calls it estate planning, but it's also farm succession planning. So passing the farm from one generation to another. There's a lot of assets now involved there.
Ag Legacy Law.
Ag Legacy Law.
The name of Ag Legacy Law is the name of her firm. But she's very good at what she does and very cognizant of what's happening in the farm family dynamics and how to make those transitions with the least amount of tax implications as well as the least amount of disruption of the farm.
She gets lots of training she's a instructor at NDSU teaching ag law as well. I think it's in her 4th year. So
good for her.
She learns a lot about different situations.
Well, it sounds like in her case, the apple hasn't fallen too far from the tree.
Right. She's in our executive training program, her 4th year. So we're training her to succeed us in our succession plan, and also our son, Bryce. He is also in his 1st year now of our executive training program and learning everything there is in our business.
Well, good for you guys that you're passing this on to the kids. I've had the pleasure of meeting both Shelby and Bryce, and they're delightful. You guys have done a wonderful job raising your children. So certainly something to celebrate there for you too. As far as where you go from here, whether it's Faith and Freedom Foundation or other things that you're looking at or other things that you want to accomplish, what are some of the things, Ray, that come to mind in terms of vision for the future and where you go from here?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we actually have a couple of the next generation helping us to see the needs of our community, and that's very helpful. But I certainly see there's a lot of opportunity. We're learning every year what more opportunities there are to help, both in big ways financially, but even small ways financially, like printing T-shirts and giving out 100 T-shirts with faith-based verses on them.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting.
How so? What do you mean?
Well, there's lots of ways to spread your faith,
right?
And actually, some of the unconventional might be some of the most successcul ways.
With a message on a T-shirt.
Just a message on a T-shirt.
And what are some of the messages you're
working out? Well, like one was no fear of man, but it's based on a verse from the Bible, which says you should not fear man, but you should fear God. And because there's nothing that man can do to you that I should find the exact verse, but and there are many others like I will not be afraid. That's based on a biblical verse. Actually, a lot of our sayings we have are biblically based, and most people don't even realize that. So that verse draws them, to actually read what's in the Bible. A lot of people don't know.
Yeah, Joan, how about you?
We're this brings me to tell you we're going to be a part of Faith and Freedom and Progressive Ag are sponsoring a booth in the Rona Berry Festival that's held near Castleton on Sunday. And it starts at 11, goes till 4. And so that's one way we do outreach, and Ray's going to have those T-shirts there. And we're still trying to figure out if we're going to sell them to raise money for our charity, public supported charity and things. But Ray is a visionary. I'm probably risk averse. He's a risk taker. And so he has tons of ideas all the time. And so I think he so when early in our marriage, he goes, well, I'm going to roll the dice, Joan. We're either going to be millionaires or we're going to be living with your parents. And
so far, we're not living. So far,
he's willing, and he's willing to give way beyond what probably is what imagined or expected. But we're grateful. I think Ray said we can live on this much money, and the rest we need to give. So we wanted to have that philosophy for our children too, be giving, because it's all God. God blessed us with all of it. None of it is ours. Just gave it to use to manage for a while, and need to expand his kingdom.
Here's an interesting statistic or bit of knowledge. You can only give away 60% of your income. If you give away more than that, they tax you anyway.
Really?
Absolutely. Who made that rule? It's kind of ridiculous, but it actually does exist.
Yeah. That does exist.
You talked about the Aronia Berry Festival. By the time some viewers and listeners watch or listen to this video, that festival will have passed. But it's neat that you guys support that and see that as an outreach opportunity.
Another one of the things that we sponsored was a soccer tournament. We had a soccer tournament, but it was mostly for immigrants. And actually, the immigrants in Fargo are very faith-minded.
Yes, and conservative in their
Most
values.
people don't realize that. And so that was a very neat way to sponsor a faith-based project. that was unconventional. I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah. And planting seeds with events and outreach like that as well.
Important, yeah.
We've covered a number of different topics here. Is there anything else that comes to mind that we haven't touched upon or talked about that you think is important to mention or include? While I'm saying this, one thing that does come to mind is you certainly, both of you are involved in North Dakota Republican politics. Maybe some thoughts on that and how and why that's important to you guys. Ray, we can start with you on that one.
Yeah, we're members of, we're in District 46. We actually just recently moved there, and so we've gotten involved in it. But of course, politics is politics, and I don't want to underestimate the importance of it. But a lot of times you mention politics, people immediately throw up you jump into this camp or you jump into that camp, and faith and freedom shouldn't be. It should be in both of those camps, actually. But ironically, you'll find most people will argue with you about that. No, that's not at all true. Why is that? I don't even understand why that is. And I wonder if our problems are ever going to be solved in either Washington or in the state capitol. In fact, I heard a panel talk once, and they said, what do you think is the most powerful force in the universe? What is the biggest force in the universe? Love or power? It's very interesting because they said the way you answer that question tells a lot about how you feel. So what is the source of love? God. Probably. God is love. So what is the source behind, what is the foundation behind power? Satan. So what is Washington, D.C. based on? Power. And what is even the state legislature? And what is politics based on? Power. So are we going to solve our problems with politics? Or are we going to solve our problems with schools like Capstone? Or with focusing on faith and freedom and solving problems people have in their own life? I'm not sure that we've solved any problems either in Washington or in North Dakota. We fight a lot. We talk a lot. We, talk about ways of approaching things. But I don't know that they're very effective at solving problems. I think people solve problems, and hopefully faith and freedom can contribute to that. That doesn't mean we have to ignore politics, of course, though it's very important. Maybe we need to have more faith and freedom-oriented people in politics. Maybe that's the answer.
Yeah, I think you make a very good and simple point. I think for a lot of people, their perspective or their attitude is that the solution is going to be political. Whereas there are many of us who are convicted and believe otherwise, that the most important and most powerful solutions to our greatest needs today are certainly spiritual.
Yes, I would agree.
I would agree with that. And actually, you could go on and say, we send Americans as a whole send $5 trillion to Washington every year. About 20% of our income goes there. What are we getting for that investment? Not very much. And I think that in making your donations and contributing to things and needs in your community, that's a lot better place probably to put your investment. And that's what faith and freedom is about.
That's why we started that, is because we did not like how our leadership was using the funds that were coming from, tax revenues from us.
I like to think that for every dollar we invest in government, maybe we get 25 cents return back, 50 at most. So we'd like to do something locally with other people involved, like you've done at Capstone, where you invest $1 and you get $3 or $4 back. That's what business is all about, and that's what we need to promote more. And I don't know that government is going to be the answer. But there's a need. There's a need for government. I'm not saying there isn't. And certainly there's a need for taxes and tax dollars. But I think there's a lot of ways to solve problems besides sending all our money and have 536 people spend 20% of 360 million people's income every year. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Joan, yeah.
And I just feel that we have been more effective in targeting areas that are the purpose, are promoting faith and freedom locally with places that we know are using those funds effectively and changing lives and bringing people to Christ. Our country needs to turn back to God. We really do.
Good example is the Gideons. That's another place that we
the
invest. It's amazing how inexpensive they can produce a Bible and distribute it out.
We were able to
It's astounding.
support 40,000 Bibles. We're very excited about that.
And they're doing it for $1
I
plus
know,
per
it's
Bible,
crazy.
and 96% of what you contribute there is going. I don't think you could say a lot of government-sponsored organizations are that effective. They are really. That's a great example.
Well, that's fantastic. I think that'll do it for us, unless either one of you have any final thoughts in closing you'd like to express.
Just that, if you're looking to, for some tax relief, tax deductions, look for some 501c3s to contribute to. We have one. Our Faith and Freedom Charity is a public supported charity, and we need to generate public support to keep that one in place. So there are lots of opportunities, and these organizations seek them out, investigate them. Where do they put their money? There's 990 forms that are published on all of them, so that you know where those funds are going. But I encourage people that if you want to, do some more in terms of charitable giving, seek out those organizations.
Ray, any thoughts?
Exactly. Yeah, actually, we're looking to do two things. Raise money and disperse money back out
really our goal.
for something that's needed in the community.
Yeah.
So either one is something we're interested in hearing about.
Well, praise God. Again, we've been speaking with Ray and Joan Grabanski, founders of the Faith and Freedom Foundation in Fargo. Grateful for your friendship, grateful for your partnership here at Capstone, and grateful for all that you're doing in our community and for all that you're both doing to expand God's kingdom. Very grateful for that, and thank you, and praise God for it.
Thank you, Tom.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Ray.
All right, that's it for this conversation. I'm Tom Tucker. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.